so glad that Journal of Genetics has over the years been organizing these kinds of symposia in order to apprise people of the apprise authors and possible authors about what Journal of Genetics stands for and the nature of its publications, the kind of papers that are accepted in Journal of Genetics and so on, and also generally uphold and celebrate evolution and genetics. So it's with deep pleasure that I wish to say a few words about Journal of Genetics before I go on with my technical talk. Journal of Genetics, I hope that there are some students here who would benefit from these first few slides because the editorial board and others are completely aware of this. So hoping that there are some students, let me inform that the Journal of Genetics was founded in 1910, one of the oldest science journals, at least certainly in the area of genetics, that was founded by William Bateson and Reginald Punnett in 1910. William Bateson passed, they co-edited this journal until William Bateson passed away in 1926. Then Punnett was editing the journal single-handedly. In 1933, Punnett invited Haldane to co-edit this journal, and Haldane accepted the invitation of Punnett, and so they co-edited this journal. From 1910 to 1957, Journal of Genetics was published from London. All of these people were in London. The science of genetics, a large part of it was born from Great Britain, from the UK. So 1910 to 1957, Journal of Genetics was published from London. In 1957, Haldane moves to India, and he wishes to bring Journal of Genetics with him. And I say wishes to because his wish was not met very encouragingly. And I wish to read this from C.H. Waddington, who actually opposed or did not heartily welcome the move of Journal of Genetics to India. Waddington was the director of the Institute of Animal Genetics, was very influential in genetics in England, and he kind of told Haldane not to take it to India. I also have a copy of that letter, but what I do want to say is that Haldane wrote back something very interesting. He says that I have at present no intention of relinquishing the Journal of Genetics. On the contrary, I'm hoping to reduce the price by getting it printed in India. So the way that Haldane justifies that he wants to bring it to India, and I guess that he also wanted to continue to edit this journal. But anyway, he says that it will bring down the price of Journal of Genetics if it's printed from India. So he actually brought the journal to India. He joined the Indian Statistical Institute. And I know the press where Journal of Genetics got printed from. I have a background with the journal, with the Indian Statistical Institute, and I've been interested in Haldane, and so I do know where the press was located from, where Journal of Genetics got printed, etc. So it's very interesting that it got printed from a suburb of Calcutta and near the Indian Statistical Institute, which is located in the suburb. So Haldane continued to edit this journal. 1964, J.B.S. Haldane passed away in India, and Helen Spurway, his widow, continues to publish this from India, continues the publication of Journal of Genetics from India. So a new set of editors were found. The editors were Madhav Gadgil, Professor Sharat Chandra, and Suresh Jayakar. Suresh Jayakar was a direct student of Haldane, but moved away to Pavia in Italy. But they continued to edit this journal. In 1977, Helen Spurway passed away. And Helen Spurway was sort of the owner of the Journal of Genetics. There was a lot of uncertainty, kind of legal tangles as well. So 1977 to 1985, there was no Journal of Genetics, and essentially it was. I know that Professor Sharat Chandra played a major role in having the Indian Academy of Sciences resume publication of the Journal of Genetics, and it actually started publication. The publication of Journal of Genetics resumed under the aegis of the Indian Academy of Sciences in 1985. And then there have been a series of people who actually took ownership. By ownership, I don't mean financial ownership, but ownership in seeing that the Journal of Genetics thrives under the Indian Academy of Sciences. And Professor Ranganath has been the last one. He wished to move away from the editorship, and we now have a new editor who will come in. But they have been doing so well and making Journal of Genetics internationally known. So it's with deep gratitude that I wish to express my deep gratitude not only to Professor Ranganath but all of the previous editors since 1985, and particularly to Professor Sharat Chandra, who actually thought that it's a good idea for the Indian Academy of Sciences to co-publish. The journal is now co-published with the Springer Nature and the Indian Academy of Sciences. For those of you who want to learn more about Journal of Genetics, the history of Journal of Genetics, Professor Nanjandaya, Professor Veena Rao, and myself, we had edited on the occasion of the 125th anniversary, that was 3 years ago, of JBS Haldane, a special issue of the Journal of Genetics, and Dr. Veena Rao actually wrote an article that contains a lot of historical documents, letters, and facsimiles of letters, and so on, of JBS Haldane from the Journal of Genetics. So, for those of you who are interested in knowing in more details about the Journal of Genetics, its foundations, its founding, its foundations, and the migration to India, and what happened in the interim, you should read this article, a fine article by Dr. Veena Rao. So I will. This is what Journal of Genetics is. It stood for good science, good genetics, and it continues to stand for good genetics. We hope that the Journal of Genetics will continue to improve, but certainly it's a very nice outlet for those of us who work in the area of genetics and broadly and at various levels. Thank you very much, and this is what I wanted to say about the Journal of Genetics and its transition to India.